Hello, dear Norman and my beloved friends in Fairfield. This is Bobby Roth, and I'm talking to you from Melbourne, Australia, where I'm on a book tour, and Norman knows everything about books. He's a great writer himself. And I just wanted to recount a story that I think of often when I think of Norman and his greatness and his naturalness. When we think of the David Lynch Foundation right now, and it's in all these 35 countries, and hundreds of thousands of people have learned to meditate. And if you go back to the origins, other than obviously Maharishi and teaching TM, you can trace it all the way back to June 2nd, 2003. Jane Pitt had been, for a few years before, had been teaching transcendental meditation at an inner city school, charter school in Detroit called the Nataki Taliba Schoolhouse. And she'd been teaching TM there, and it had been going very well. And she got someone from the University of Michigan to do a study on the kids, which showed that the kids did better in school and they were happier. And Jane called me up one time and said, she was sort of tired, that she'd been teaching and the school, and she'd raised some money, but wasn't sure if she should continue. And she mentioned to me about, don't worry, I'm going to talk about Norman in a minute. She mentioned to me about this study, and since I do press, I immediately thought, well, that's a news story for sure. So I said, don't quit yet, don't retire. Let me pitch that to the press. So I wrote up a press release, and at the time I was working with Norman Zierold and Kenny Chalkin and Joe Boxerman and myself. We were a team. So we sent out press releases, and there was some interest from the press in Detroit about this study that had been done on kids meditating in a school, at a charter school in Detroit, and but not a ton of response. But God bless Norman, he got a hold of a reporter, Jennifer Hilton, who worked in Chicago for the NBC Today Show office, and he established this wonderful friendship with Jennifer, and inspired her to want to do a story. So NBC Today Show sent a live camera crew to this school in Detroit and did a live interview with the principal, Carmen Anamdi, and then added to it a sort of a feature on the kids meditating and showed it on national television. And that was really the launch of the David Lynch Foundation, in the sense that we had something that people could see, concrete, the effect of quiet time and TM on kids. But Norman actually had even a bigger impact, because fast forward 4 years, and I'm at a meeting at David Lynch's house, and man, Ray Dalio is there with his son, and Ray was there to talk with David about possibly giving some money to the David Lynch Foundation to teach TM to inner city school kids. And David and I are talking with Ray, and it's not quite connecting, it's not quite happening, nothing's going on, and I think the thing is failing. And all of a sudden, I remembered that I had on my computer the Today Show that Norman had gotten from a few years before. So I mentioned it to David, and we hooked it up into his home video studio, and played it on this big screen. And when it was done, Ray Dalio turned around to look at David. He had tears in his eyes, and he said, "You've convinced me. I would like to give you $1 million." So, and that was the beginning of Ray continuing to give many, many millions of dollars and to build everything up. And it was that moment when we showed this film, this TV segment, that Ray saw the future of young people meditating. And so I'm going to talk right to Norman, because I don't know if he's listening, but I love Norman and he's always present for me. Norman, you're the basis of so much. You bring so much happiness to so many people. You bring grace, you bring wisdom, you bring kindness, you bring sama, evenness. You have your whole life, but particularly for all of us who work with you. And everything that is going on now, and I'm not exaggerating, everything that is going on can be traced with the David Lynch Foundation all over the world, and TM all over the world, can be traced to that 4-minute video that you secured when no one else could get any press coverage for what was actually a big story. We all tried, and you got it. So thank you, Norman. God bless you, Norman. Safe travels, Godspeed, and we're always here for you. And we know you're always here for us. So Jay Gurdev, and I love you very, very much, Norman.